Hi, welcome to Energising Flow. Thanks for joining me today. So it'd be really helpful to have a couple of blocks today if you've got them, or a couple of sort of sturdy water bottles. Blocks would be better if you have them, or a sort of like a stack of books that are bound together that are of even height. So yeah, these kind of smaller brick style ones are best. That's probably all you're going to need today, unless you want some blankets to get cozy at the end. So today we're going to look into a little bit of backbending, so just be really cautious and kind to your back. We've all got different backs, and don't put yours out. So be really good at listening to your body today and just go with what feels good. There'll also be a little bit of balancing and some flow, so it's not going to be insanely heavy on the back bends, so don't worry if that's not your thing. There's plenty of other things in the class as well. So we'll come to start in child's pose today, bringing the big toes together, and the knees can either be apart or they can be together. Drawing the forehead down towards the mat. If you want to pop a block or a blanket underneath the forehead, then go for it. And if you want a little blanket or anything in between here, that can be nice as well, just to lift the hips. So finding your place here, whichever position feels good for you. And then beginning to observe what's going on in your body. Maybe how the breath is coming into the body. Is it quite shallow? Is it a bit deeper? What parts of the body are you breathing into? Maybe seeing if you can send your breath into the back of the body, so filling up the back of the body, imagining somebody's got their hand on your sort of your mid-back and seeing if you'd be able to breathe into that space. Allowing the chest to sink down with every one of your exhales. And whether you're breathing through nose and mouth or just through the nose, seeing if you can match the length of your inhale with your exhale. Maybe allowing the breath to come deeper into the body. Maybe the breath becomes a little bit longer. Taking one more deep breath into the body, filling the body with energy, with goodness, with oxygen. And exhale, letting go of anything that's feeling tight or stuck. And when you're ready, pressing through the hands, coming up onto hands and knees, hands underneath the shoulders, knees under the hips. Drawing the spine long, reaching the crown of the head forward, the tailbone back. And starting with a few gentle cat-cows. So when you inhale, pressing through the hands, chest comes through the arms, lifting the hips, the gaze comes forward slightly. And exhale, pressing through the hands, rounding the spine, coming into cat. Coming through once more, inhaling, opening, expanding through the chest. Exhaling, tucking the chin, rounding the spine. Finding your way back to center. And walking the hands forward. Drawing the chest down to the ground. Feeling free to grab a block here or a blanket, something underneath your face if that feels good. Otherwise, bringing the forehead down to the ground, coming into puppy dog pose. And you can either have the forehead or the chin on the ground here. Opening through the front of the shoulders, allowing the chest to open, allowing the heart to open, sinking down into the mat for a couple of breaths. And then coming onto the elbows, walking the hands back in, back to all fours position. And bringing the left hand underneath the face. Coming into a twist, opening the right arm, reaching up to the sky. And right hand comes down. Bringing the right hand to center, left hand reaches up, rising up to the sky, open twist on this side. And exhale, back to center. Tucking the toes under and finding your way into downward facing dog when you're ready. Maybe starting with a bend in the knees, allowing the spine to open first. Or if it feels good to maybe pedal the feet or to straighten the legs. No pressure for the heels to feel like they have to touch the ground here. Often we feel that the heels must be on the ground in downward dog. It's more of a sense of the heels reaching towards the ground that's important, rather than where they actually are. So grounding down through all of the knuckles of the fingers, seeing if you can get the palms comfortably wide here. And reaching up with the hips. Allowing the head to be heavy and soft. Maybe nodding the head side to side. On an inhale, walking the feet slowly to meet the hands at the top of the mat. Coming into forward fold. And inhale, rolling up from here. Let's come through a couple of sun salutations together. Inhale, standing tall, drawing up through the crown of the head. Arms come out to the side, following with the gaze. Hands together, hinging at the hips. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, spine comes long, gaze is down. Exhale, hands by the feet, stepping back into plank. Lowering the knees this time for the first one, bending the elbows, untucking the toes, and coming down to the ground. Pressing through the hands, coming into cobra, and lowering down. Coming through once more, pressing through the hands into cobra, and lowering down. And then finding your way back as you exhale to downward facing dog. On your next inhale, stepping or maybe lunging, finding your way to halfway lift at the top of your mat. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rising up to stand. Arms reach up to the sky overhead. Hands come together in front of the heart. Inhale, arms reaching up to the sky. Hinging at the hips, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bringing the hands by the feet, stepping back to plank. And lowering down from full plank all the way to the ground. Untucking the toes. Bringing the arms down by the side. Little fingers are next to the thigh, palms facing down. On an inhale, lifting the chest, lifting the arms, keeping the gaze down. And then option to also lift the feet, lift the shins, the knees, the thighs, coming into locust pose. And taking a breath here, seeing if you can send the breath deep down into the belly. Maybe you get a slight rocking sensation. And exhale, lowering down. Bringing the hands underneath your shoulders, pressing through, coming into cobra. And exhale, finding your way into downward facing dog. On an inhale, finding your way to the top of your mat, into halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rising up to stand. Maybe the arms come up and overhead. Hands together in front of the heart. Coming through one more time. Inhale, arms out to the side, up overhead. Hinging at the hips as you exhale, forward fold. Inhale, hands to the shins, halfway lift, gaze is down, spine drawing long. Exhale, hands by the feet, stepping back into plank. We're coming all the way down again, so lowering down from full plank if you can, or bringing the knees down. Untucking the toes. And keeping the forehead to center, bringing the hands down by the side, fingertips to the thigh, palms down. Rising up as you inhale, and option to lift the legs as well. Exhale, lowering down. Inhale, option to come through as before, or bending the knees, grabbing hold of the outsides of the feet or the ankles. As you inhale, lifting the thighs, peeling up the chest from the floor, coming into bow pose. So bow pose, it can be quite a small back bend. You can be more like here, the chest can be low to the ground, a little lift with the thighs, or you can lift the chest higher. Maybe there's a rocking as you breathe in and out. Exhale, straightening out the legs, keeping them lifted, keeping the arms lifted. One breath in, locust if you can. And exhale, down to the ground. Hands underneath the shoulders, inhaling up to cobra. And exhale, finding your way downward facing dog. Inhaling, step, walk or float, finding your way halfway lift at the top of your mat. Exhale, release to forward fold. Inhale, rising up, arms come out to the side, up overhead, and hands to prayer. One more time, inhale, arms to the side, up overhead, Hinging at the hips, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands by the feet, coming through your version of chaturanga this time. So maybe lowering down to the ground, maybe halfway. Inhale, upward dog or cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, finding your way to the top of the mat, step, walk or float, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rising up, hands reach, fingertips reach. And exhale, hands to prayer. Inhale, reaching up with the hands. Exhale, coming into forward fold. Bringing the hands by the feet, taking a bend in the knees if you need to. And from here, coming up onto the fingertips. And whenever you're ready, bringing the weight into the right foot, gaze comes between the legs, head is heavy. And allowing the left leg to rise up. Coming into standing splits. Don't actually have to do the splits. An option here if you want to bring one or both hands onto that standing leg, or to leave both hands down. Seeing if you can put as little weight as possible into the fingers. Reaching up through the inner thigh of that lifted leg. And then keeping that leg off the ground, bending the front knee. Gaze comes forward, coming up to stand, hands come to prayer. Knee stays bent. Reaching the foot out in front. Bending the knee. And reaching back with the left hand. Coming to the inside of the left foot. And coming into dancer's pose. So starting by kicking the foot into the hand. Drawing up tall. And then beginning to kick the leg further and further back, opening up through the hip. And maybe the index finger and the thumb come together. And maybe the body leans forward slightly. One more breath wherever you are. And coming back to center. Hands come to prayer. I know it's horrible on that standing leg. One more breath. Exhale, bringing the left leg down. And giving the legs a little shake. So in dancer's pose, it's absolutely okay to keep the leg close. And the aim really is to keep the knees hugging as close together as you can, even as the leg begins to lift. So finding your place in dances. On the other side when we come, it may feel a little different, but no pressure for it to look any particular way. It's whatever shape your body wants to make today. Inhale, arms rise up to the side, up overhead. Hinging at the hips, forward fold. Coming into our standing splits on this side, weight into the left leg. Allowing the right leg to rise. Maybe you keep both hands to the ground. Maybe one or both hands goes to the standing ankle. And lifting up through that inner thigh. Taking one more breath. And then bending that knee, bending the front leg, finding somewhere to focus. And seeing if you can come up to stand, maybe a little wobble, hands to prayer. And straightening out that front leg. Bending the knee, bringing it behind, grabbing the inside of the foot. So hugging those knees together. And bringing the index finger and the thumb. And then reaching out forward with the arm, but not bending forwards with the body first. Opening up with the leg. And then when the leg is open, maybe there's space for the body to come forward. Woo. And if you're like me, you're maybe a little wobbly on this side. One more breath. Inhale. Coming back if you can, keeping on that leg. Half mountain. And bringing the leg down. And having a good little shake. Okay. On an inhale, arms come up to the side, up overhead, hinging at the hips, forward fold. And taking the feet maybe a little wider than hips width. Taking a deep restorative fold here. Hands can be at the ground. Or maybe if it feels good to interlace the fingers, reach up and allow the arms to come overhead. On an exhale, bringing the hands down to the ground, walking the feet back to hips width. One more breath here. And then bending the knees and coming down to the ground. So we'll come on to the knees here. Sorry, my mat keeps getting all folded up and squished up. And if you've got your blocks, this is the time to grab them. So we'll do some practicing of coming into camel. So starting off, drawing the spine long here. And as you exhale, engaging through the abdominals, through the front of the body. And leaning back a little bit, seeing if you can keep the body straight. So not going back too far. And back to center, but getting a feeling as you exhale and come back of how the body engages at the front. So when we're coming into any back bend, we're looking to engage the front of the body rather than kind of just allowing the body to flop open. That's how we look after the lower back. So getting a sense for the body engaging. And then coming back to center. So grabbing hold of your blocks, and this time as you exhale, bringing the blocks down to the ground. So keeping the spine long, so we're not coming into a back bend here, just using the blocks for support to come a little further back. And seeing how that feels to come forward in that and backwards in that way. If you haven't got the blocks, then I suggest that you maybe stay with the leaning like we were before, okay? So if you've got the blocks, using them to come backwards. And this time, once you're there, if you're on the blocks, you can see what it might feel like to come into a bit of a back bend. So allowing the hips to move forward and seeing how that feels. And if that feels good, maybe the chest begins to open. Maybe the gaze comes up to the sky, or maybe the head comes backwards. So stopping at any point. If you're very comfortable in your camel pose and you want to do this without the blocks, you're welcome to. And when we're coming out, we're using the blocks to come out very carefully. If you don't have blocks, then I recommend bringing the hands onto the heels, tucking the toes under first, and practicing coming into your back bend from this way. So pressing into the heels, bringing the feet to hips width apart, and then lifting up into a straight line first of all, and then seeing again about bringing the hips forward, about lifting the chest, or about bringing the head backwards. So that's the way you can do it without blocks. And to come out, the chest, the head comes up, the hips move back, and then you come down. So taking a lot of care when you come out of this, keeping the neck straight at all times. It might be that if you've practiced camel quite a lot, you know you're really opening your back, that you come down without the blocks or without that method. But that's what I would suggest if you're not quite sure how your back's feeling. It's the safest way to get in and out of camel. Of course, if you know that you're comfortable coming in, walking your hands down the legs, and you want to take camel holding onto the heels, then by all means, feel free to take camel in this way instead. So if you're on the blocks, taking one more breath here, and then to come out carefully, bringing the chin up to the chest if you brought it down, drawing the hips in, and then coming up out of the back bend. So just being really mindful to come out of this slowly, and then bringing the hands down to the ground and taking a couple of little hip circles here. So option 2, come into camel again if that feels good, or you're welcome to stay doing some hip circles, staying in whatever position might feel good for you. So if you are coming into camel again, then using your blocks really mindfully, coming back to, so using that leaning back that we did at the beginning, blocks come down, and then the hips move forward, then the chest rises, then the head can come back. And to come out, the head is tucking, and the hips are moving back, and you're coming out. And again, if you're not using the blocks, then you're tucking the toes, holding onto the heels, and then pressing up from here. So straight back, hips come forward, and then allowing the chest and the neck to open. And it's the same way in reverse, coming out. So taking one more breath wherever you are in camel. And then slowly coming back, finding your way to hands and knees, really mindfully coming out of that posture, being good to your lower back. Taking those hip circles, or whatever it is that you feel might be helpful. And then bringing the feet to the side, coming to sit down, feet in front. And taking a moment here to draw up through the chest, bending the right leg. And we'll take a little twist here just to release the spine a little bit. So opening up towards the right hand side. So right hand comes behind the body, and you can either hold on to the right knee with the left hand, or if you want to, you can pop the elbow on the knee. So it's just a really gentle little twist, opening up through the waist. The gaze can be to the side, you can take the gaze over the right shoulder. Inhale, making your way back to center, opening up that knee, bringing the right foot against the left thigh, and turning your body slightly to face the left foot. Inhale, reaching up with the arms. Exhale, coming forward any amount over this foot. So maybe it's just a tiny bit, maybe you just take a little gentle forward fold here. Maybe the elbows come down, or maybe you take a bind with the foot, but you know, whatever feels good. No pressure for it to look a certain way. Feel free to stay high. And sending your breath into the body, allowing it to release, to fold. And wherever you are, allowing the head now to become heavy, the spine to round, just for a couple of breaths. Inhale, walking the hands back in, hands behind the body. You can bring that right leg out, little shake of the legs. And then drawing the left knee in. We'll take a little twist on this side. So left hand comes behind the body, opening up through the waist. And then option to hug that left knee in or bring the right elbow to the outside of the left knee. As you inhale, opening up through the chest, through the body. Exhale, maybe you come a little deeper into the twist. One more breath here. And then slowly coming back to center on your inhale. Opening the left leg, drawing the left foot to the right thigh. And turning the body slightly so it's facing that right leg. Inhale, reaching up. And exhale, coming forward any amount on this side. So maybe just a really gentle opening and fold on this side. Maybe come down further, whatever feels good for you. Maybe you grab the foot bind, keeping the spine long wherever you are, just for the first few breaths. And then allowing the spine to round a little bit. You can tuck the chin. Just for the last couple of breaths here, breathing into the body. Seeing if you can get that breath into the back of the body, the back of the ribs. Drawing forwards with the chest. And inhale, walking in. Bringing that left knee up. Straightening up both legs. A little shake, a little roll from side to side. And then coming down onto your back, ready for Shavasana. So bending the knees, lowering down. Hugging both knees into the chest. A little rock side to side. And then inhale, drawing the forehead to the knee. Squeezing up in a tiny, tiny little ball as tight as you can. Squeezing, squeezing. And exhale, opening out the body to any position that feels good. Maybe you come to lie down flat on your back. Maybe you keep the knees bent. Wherever you are, allowing the body to feel open, relaxed. Maybe imagining that you're melting down into the mat and the mat's receiving your body, taking the weight of your body. On your next inhale, deep inhale into the body. Exhale, deep sigh out through the mouth. Allowing your body to be completely, fully supported. Maybe taking a moment to thank your body for whatever it's been able to do today without judgment. Maybe there were some poses that felt more natural, more available to your body than others. But thanking it for everything it's been able to do. Thank yourself for listening to your body, to checking in with what it needed, choosing the option that suited you, suited your body. And then taking some deep breaths here. Checking in if there's anywhere in the body that you're still holding on, that you can let go a little bit more. Allowing yourself to rest and chill out in this glorious Shavasana pose. I encourage you to stay here for as long as you can, my yogi friends, maybe a few more minutes, 5 more minutes, whatever you've got time for today. I really thank you for joining me to practice. It's been fun. I really look forward to seeing you in class again soon, and hope you enjoy the rest of your day today. Namaste.